Recently, I've recorded a rash of videos saying that Boba Fett's going to take over the leadership of the Mandalorians. Some people like the videos, some don't. And I'm okay with that. I'm okay with being wrong as well. I'm okay with however the story plays out. I'm just saying that these are the clues that they're putting in place. But what I should have been doing all along was not beefing up Boba Fett so much, because there are a lot of people who don't like him as much as I do. What I should have been saying is why Din Djarin isn't meant to lead the Mandalorian people as the Mandalor. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Gerald and I'm a Star Wars fanatic, and you can be a Star Wars fanatic too. All you have to do is hit that subscribe button, turn on your notifications. You can join the channel as a member, or you can join my Patreon page. The links are in the description and at the About section of my video. Now, go ahead and leave a comment as well, because I do pick one comment out of all of them to highlight at the end of each video. So comment on this one, I'll highlight it at the end of the next video, just as I'm going to do at the end of this video. With all that said, let's move on with today's topic. Now, I hope you've all stuck around, because my intro was a bit vague. Please hear me out before making a judgment. I said that I should be telling why Din Djarin will not become Mandalor. In theory. That's right, theory. I've made 3 other videos on why they are showing signs that Boba Fett will be the leader of the Mandalorians. I'll link those videos in the description and at the end of this video. Check them out if you want to. But let's talk about Din Djarin for now. Why he can't lead the Mandalorians. And be careful, there are spoilers in here for the Book of Boba Fett Chapter 6, just small ones. I'll give you 5 seconds to turn away if you haven't seen it yet, but come back after you have. 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, still here? Yeah, I don't know. I can't see you, so I'm going to talk anyway.
Get on with it. Yes, get on with it!
Okay, geez, you guys are hostile today. Now, Din Djarin's huddled up with Boba Fett, Fennec Shan, the Vespa kids, and a couple large pig people. Don't confuse them with the little pig people.
All right, Luke's on Dagobah, there's a rebel base on Kashyyyk, and I'm the one who clogged the toilet on the 16th floor.
Oh, that was disgusting! You know, because of that, I had to use the little pig people's bathroom.
And before he trekked off to meet with Boba Fett, Din Djarin was visiting his covert and showing them his shiny new toy. The armorer tried training him with it, and it fought against him. Now, for those of you telling me to stop making it out to be like the Elder Wand, the show is doing that, not me. I compare it more to Excalibur. But the fact remains, the Darksaber is fighting against Din Djarin. He trains. The saber gets heavier to the point he almost can't lift it. The armorer tells him how to alleviate this by bonding with it and not fighting against the sword. See, both are fighting against each other. When Paz Vizsla approaches the situation, he tells Din that maybe it belongs in the hands of someone else. Din Djarin agrees. Maybe. We all know Paz Vizsla was talking about himself. That didn't happen, but the fact remains. Din Djarin believes it may not belong to him. Remember, back to the Mandalorian Season 2, he didn't even want the Darksaber. He still shows signs of not wanting it now, but the rest of his weaponry is either melted or it got blown up in the Razor Crest. Okay, so aside from the Elder One and Excalibur stuff, there's more. He has issues, well, 2 deep-seated issues. The first we all know and love, Grogu, or Baby Yoda if that's what you call the little green guy. Their bond is that of a father and son. Grogu isn't supposed to have attachments, but he does, and it's disturbing his training. He can't focus, and Luke Skywalker's getting frustrated. This is also throwing Din off balance. He almost chopped off his own leg with the Darksaber, for Pete's sake. Wait, hold on, let me back up for a minute. I'm sorry, I have to bring this up. Remember when the armorer told Din Djarin that Beskar was for armor and not weapons? What about those whistling birds she made from Beskar for his vambrace? What about when Din Djarin told her about the Darksaber being made of Beskar? She didn't want to melt that damn thing. She even told him that the Darksaber was a noble weapon. Get your crap together, lady. See, this makes me not trust her at all. It's like she knew she and Paz Vizsla were going to lust over it and wanted it out of her house. Anyway, back to Din Djarin. He's mentally blocked because of Grogu, but that isn't the only issue he has, and rightfully so. What did we see in The Mandalorian Seasons 1 and 2 anytime he was getting work done by the metalsmith lady? Flashbacks. And flashbacks of what? His parents. The man who saved him as well as a child. And the apparent death of his parents. Most people seem to forget that can be a hang-up and needing closure. And don't say he's had his whole life so far and probably got closure. If he got closure, these flashbacks wouldn't be haunting him. He'd be at peace, but he isn't. I feel like his parents' whereabouts and who they are is going to come into play eventually, maybe later than sooner. And we will most likely find out they are disciples of the will, as our friend Don Clatterman has suggested to me. Okay, this still isn't enough proof for you, right? Okay, well, when the armorer told him he can't be a Mandalorian anymore because he took off his helmet, why didn't he tell her to go F herself? Give her the big bird, you know? He's supposedly the Mandalor. He could even change the rules of the creed. Don't give me that ancient creed crap either. Creeds were sometimes only as old as the head of the house of their leadership. Look at the Super Commando Codex, not to mention the Rezulnari, mentions nothing about removing a helmet, only that a Mandalorian wears the armor. If you don't know what the Rezulnari Canons of Honor, nor the Super Commando Codex are, please look them up or find one of my videos on them. I've done several. Let's look at one more thing, and it ties into the armorer. Why is it when Din Djarin was told he cannot be a Mandalorian anymore, does he not only accept it, but he also begs for forgiveness and asks how to atone for his sins? Is this a sign of leadership? Hell no. And don't tell me he's inexperienced. Looked like he led the raiding party on Moff Gideon's ship pretty well. Planned it perfectly, and probably wouldn't have needed OP Luke Skywalker to rescue them if they knew about the Dark Troopers before the planning stage. So, he has the leadership skill. What he lacks is the willingness to use it to those who are subordinate to him. Yes, with him being the Mandalor carrying the Darksaber, the armorer is his subordinate now. He doesn't want it and still sees himself as a follower. He asked to atone instead of telling her to get bent and changing the rules. Their safety is no longer in their secrecy. There are only 3 of them. Looks like Bo-Katan and her crowd's getting around pretty good, just fine, and everyone sees them without their helmets on. Oh, and for those of you confused, removing your helmet does not make you an Arueti, Darmanda, or soulless outsider non-Mandalorian. Now, if that's that house's rule, then it just means you can't be a part of their house, like House Vizsla, or House Fett, or any of those. Mandalorians have been removing their helmets since the days of yore. The armorer considers only herself and Paz Vizsla Mandalorians now. Who does she think she is, Prime Minister Olmec? She doesn't have the power to take away citizenship, only affiliation. Keep that in mind. So it doesn't matter that Boba Fett nor Bo-Katan Kryze take off their helmets. If they consider themselves or each other Mandalorian, then so be it. There's nothing the armorer can say about it. She tells tales from her perspective only. But that's not the way it should be. There are ways to get kicked out of Mandalorian society, but it mostly falls under going against the Rezulnari or your Mandalor, which she just did. Okay, that's just my 2 cents though. Go back and watch Rebels and the Clone Wars to see if I know what I'm talking about. I hope I'm making sense. Din Djarin can't lead because he isn't a leader. He's Lancelot, the champion of the king with the shiny armor, rescues damsels in distress. He's Sir Galahad with the moral code. Neither of them ever king. Arthur was king. For those of you who don't know or don't see it, legend stories are being brought back into canon slowly. The latest is Boba Fett's father, Jango Fett, being a Mandalorian and fighting in the Mandalorian Civil Wars alongside his adopted father, Jaster Muriel. Don't be surprised if these legends tales turn into Boba Fett becoming Mandalore. It's happened before. Just keep that in mind. And now I'd like to take the time to highlight the comment from the last video. This comment comes from Rich Nowicki. It was a similar feel to last week for me. This week the message was about balance. All the characters right now need to find balance to further their stories. Rich then gives Boba Fett versus Cad Bane as an example and Grogu needing healing in the living waters as well. Thank you, Rich. I really appreciate that. I was struggling with episode 6 when I first watched it this morning. If anybody was in the live stream while I was watching it, you could see that. I apologize for it. But I have since come to reconcile my feelings with it. I can't control what they make. I can only control how I make sense of it. You pointed me in a direction that's really good with the theme of balance. I appreciate that. So, guys and gals, keep the comments coming. I really appreciate them. And if someone makes a good point that contradicts my own, it isn't beneath me to consider it. I'm just a guy who loves and studies Star Wars. I'm human, but I love what I do here. And I love what you guys bring to the table. This is Gerald with Star Wars Fanatic signing off, wishing you all great health and happiness. Remember, this is the way, the only way.